thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are still getting some people into our Zoom call, so we appreciate just a little more patience as we're getting everyone in. Tonight is the second interview, which is part of our Women's History Month here in the Dance Fit Hub. I decided this year I was gonna go right into it, celebrating all of you, of course, but also to it was an opportunity for me to kind of think of what women did I want to kind of find a little more about, like to talk to and find out what their stories are, because this year the topic is about celebrating women's stories, right? The stories that we all have to tell. And so last week we had Laura, and she spoke a little bit about menopause, such a great topic. Menopause and the foods that we eat, right, that affect our menopausal symptoms. But tonight we have my friend and colleague and fellow belly dancer, Dr. Ludmilla Wikkeling Scott. And she is the founder and owner of Drink Our HiG, which is like, I kept switching the letters. I don't know why.
It's the same ginger.
Yeah. And they offer teas and tisanes, I'm going to say herbs and spices that have various health benefits. And I thought, you know what? I recently have decided that I wanted to add more tea to my diet. And I'm not saying diet like as in lose weight diet. I'm just saying, you know, to my overall what I eat and what I drink. And so I thought this would be educational for me and educational for all of you, because I know also that there's a lot of people out there that do not like to drink water. So this is going to be a possible alternative for you. So I think we're all in here right now. So again, welcome, Dr. Ludmilla. I'm going to call her Dr. Ludmilla. Welcome, and thank you again so much for doing this interview.
Yes, thank you for having me. And thank you all for coming.
So Ludmilla, where are you originally from?
So I'm going to keep it short, but it's a long story. So I was born in the Netherlands, but my family is from Suriname. And because Suriname was a Dutch colony, a former Dutch colony, a lot of the people in Suriname, when they finish high school, the men go to the Netherlands for military training. And the women back then used to go to become a nurse or to go into some kind of health profession, because there was always a shortage of nursing. Today, actually, there's a shortage of nursing. So my dad went in the military, my mom went to nursing school, and they were dating, and they got married in the Netherlands, had 4 kids, then moved back to Suriname later on when Suriname became independent. And so Suriname became independent. We stayed there for a while. I went to school in Suriname. Unfortunately, in 1980, we had a military coup. My parents wanted to leave again, but they didn't want to go back to the Netherlands. And Dad's oldest brother was living in San Francisco because he'd been here like for decades. So Uncle Herman sponsored us. And back in those days, it was just easy to come into the country. You get a green card. And so a family of 6 moved to the United States, and we lived in San Francisco for a long time. And then I moved to the East Coast.
Wow.
Yeah.
World traveler.
Yes. We also lived in Spain for 6 years, actually. My dad studied Spanish. So yeah, we lived in Barcelona.
Well, I'll give you just quickly, because you mentioned it. So I don't know if everybody knows, but I actually studied in the Netherlands. So
wow. I didn't know that.
No, but I don't know if people pay attention when I'm talking. But yes,
but I honestly didn't know that. Wow.
I did my last semester of college in the Netherlands.
Wow. Yeah. All right. So were you in Amsterdam?
Rotterdam, to be specific. Rotterdam. That's where.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah.
So let's talk about the story that you're bringing tonight. And I was very interested in this story because it touched me a little bit. And I think we had a little bit of a conversation before the interview, but Your creation of Drink Our HiG was involved your father, right?
Yes.
And for me, my dad is, I have a very close relationship with my dad, even though we don't communicate a lot, as like every day or whatever. But ever since I was little, I had a connection with him. And so when I read this, I was like, it just made me want to find out more about it. So can you share with everyone the story about how your dad inspired your business?
Yeah, so actually the whole business, I always tell people this business was not based on any business model. It was purely emotion. In 2015, my husband and I were living halfway around the world in Abu Dhabi. And my sister called me and said my dad was getting sick. And out of the 4 children, I'm the only one that looks really, really like my dad. So I've always kind of been my daddy's girl. Mm-hmm. And I always saw my dad as my hero because everything that I learned, even in relationships, I looked at men based on what I saw my dad do for my mom. And so I modeled my relationships. If my dad doesn't do it, you don't get to do it. So, and my dad and I, we talked every day. Every part of my career, he was my biggest cheerleader. He walked me down the aisle. He came to my graduations and stuff like that. So I rushed home and we began taking care of that. But my sister and I immediately went for tea because in Suriname, we have all kinds of roots. And so tea for us in Suriname does mean, the English, the typical English black tea, but we have what we call bush tea, and that's all kinds of different herbs. So we tried hibiscus, we tried turmeric, we tried ginger teas. We just tried to put things together to help Dad. And unfortunately, he was already at the end stages, which we didn't realize until then. But 7 months later, he passed away. And what made us really upset was that in the last parts of his life, he had to go into ICU. And then, so he had to be part of the healthcare system, if you will. And then they decide whether you can eat, whether you're on a feeding tube. And then even if you're eating, what you can eat, because they don't allow certain things. So we used to try to sneak things into the ICU and just all kinds of things. And what warmed my heart today is that the last meal that my dad had was the meal that I cooked for him. But I was also angry because I felt like, wow, there's so many herbs that I saw people in the Caribbean use for just stuff, and I couldn't help my dad. So I cried literally for a year. I would go back, I was at the university, I would teach, go to the bathroom, cry, go back, put my makeup back on. And I couldn't go anywhere. I literally couldn't go anywhere. So my husband was like, well, maybe you need to go into what they call it, bereavement counseling. I was so depressed, I didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do anything. I was just devastated. But then my students in school were kind of, some students were like, oh, Dr. Ludmilla, I'm sick. I'm on my period. I can't come to class. And I'm like, huh? Or, I have a headache or, bouncing off the walls. And so I began literally bringing my hibiscus and ginger tea to class. And I was sometimes really irritated. So I told my students, come to my office, girl, just come to my office and have a drink. And before I knew it, there's like 6 students sitting there in their abayas. These are Muslim students. The girls are sitting on the floor, Dr. Ludmilla, we're having a drink, and they would calm down. And so then they would start coming to class and I would tell them, look, I don't care what you do. I don't care what your belief is. You come into class, period or no period. Stop taking Panadol, because they were like popping pills like crazy. And it became a fad. And just like in the United States, there are drug problems all around the world. So I was impressing on them that they need to start drinking herbs. And when I was asking them a question about hibiscus, they said, oh yeah, Kaka, we drink that during Ramadan. And so it made me realize that we, in Suriname, we drink hibiscus tea when there's a birth, a funeral, a birthday, or Christmas. So we drink these herbs, very powerful. We drink them for the holidays. But we know that there's power in them, but we don't do it consistently. Right. And so when I started asking my students why they didn't like karkade, they said it's because it's bitter. And so I started showing them how I made it with ginger and cane sugar. And I said to them, you moderate the amount of sweetener that you put in there, but not long story short, they liked it. And my Bible study class started liking my tea. And everybody said, Ludmilla, you got to sell this stuff. I was not in a space to sell. And then at some point, literally, it was like God was like, girl, you need to tell your story. And so I began thinking about selling the tea but I didn't want to sell bottled tea because I'd done some research and I found out that when you bottle tea, it loses the antioxidant value right away. And nobody has really done any studies to measure how much is in there. So I was also halfway around the world. I knew nothing about business. So I felt that, I need to talk to a nutritionist. And so one of my colleagues was a nutritionist from Sudan, and we began looking at tea blends. And that's how we started to create teas. And then my daughter came and she set up the business in New York because that's where she still lives today, but she was there at the time. So we opened up the business in the United States and then brought it back after we came back. So we had it in Abu Dhabi. We started at the mosque, the Sheikh Zayed Mosque, and then brought it back to the United States. And now we're here.
Yeah, and that was actually another interesting thing that I read, because my husband's Egyptian, right? And his family is Muslim. And that tea, I never forget, I think when we went to something and his mom said, this tea is very important in our country. It's whenever there's a wedding or there's like an engagement or the birth of something, like that's when you're supposed to have it. And the first time I went to Egypt, we went to her family's house,
right,
and that's what they served. And they were like, oh, it's a celebration that you're here. So they
yes,
did it as a celebration. And I said, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So very interesting to see that as well.
And I just want to add, Catherine, that what I learned was that we have so much more in common around the world, because here I learned this flower in Suriname on the coast of South America. And I actually, when we funeralized my dad was cremated. We took his ashes to Suriname. We had a huge celebration for him. Mm-hmm. And hibiscus and ginger was the drink. My cousin froze hibiscus from her yard. I flew halfway around the country, and I go to the market in Abu Dhabi and I see this hibiscus, and I just laughed. And I literally called her on WhatsApp. I said, I feel so foolish because they sell that here. Yeah. I didn't have to fly around the world. So yeah, so we have much more in common. So I really was fascinated with that. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that story. Because like I said, for me, it was, I don't know, it touched me, I guess. I love my dad. But yeah. So incorporating teas into one's diet is a practice that has been used, as we just discussed, in different cultures through centuries, right? To promote overall balance and well-being in the body. And so as women, it's important for us to prioritize our health in specific areas like hormone health, right? Joint health, and just to ensure happiness, right? Happiness and just a healthy body, especially over 50, right?
Yes.
And so what I wanted to start with is the most common thing that I always hear is, my body is doing the snap, crackle, and pop every day, right? And this is AKA, for those of you that are like, what does that mean? The aches and pains that you wake up with every day, the aches and pains that you feel at the end of your day. So what herbal teas are good for this, and how would we incorporate that into our day?
So I have all things hibiscus, and hibiscus is just a natural anti-inflammatory, and so are green teas, by the way. So the difference, of course, is that green teas are caffeinated, but herbal teas are not caffeinated. I encourage herbal teas, but I encourage specifically hibiscus, any hibiscus blend, because I found out through research that hibiscus has 400 times the antioxidants of green tea. And I did not realize that.
Okay.
So hibiscus is actually much more powerful. And so as an anti-inflammatory, I also suggest hibiscus as your sports drink. So for anybody going to the gym or doing any kind of physical activity, you can literally put some hibiscus tea blend or some hibiscus leaves in your water, let it steep cold. And I used to do this. I would take a water bottle, put some hibiscus leaves in it, put it in the refrigerator, and the next day when I go to the gym, I have my sports drink. And I really encourage that because it's natural. And I want to also share that one of the things that we pride ourselves on, we don't add artificial flavor or any natural ingredients to, because we don't know what natural ingredients means. There's a lot of terms that we use in our food or in our drinks that are sort of, I want to say a little bit mysterious, but they sound healthy. So we don't do any of that. And so hibiscus is definitely a great one for arthritis, for anti-inflammation. I suggest any hibiscus tea blend, absolutely.
Yes, and so what I'm going to share right now is that this is why I started drinking tea.
Yes.
Because as you all know, I teach a million bazillion classes a week.
Yes.
And again, like I've said, my hips do not lie. They are inflamed and they're like, what are you doing? Right. So obviously, besides stretching and doing all of that other type of body recovery, I did read up on the benefits of hibiscus, of course, because, you know, my mother-in-law was like, that's going to cure it. That's going to do it. So do it.
Yeah.
You know? And so I just quickly, I'm trying to find if I have the hibiscus one. I don't have it here. I think I just drank it today. But I went to Publix, our local supermarket, and I found Bigelow has these botanicals that you can put in cold water.
And it's so gorgeous. I mean, it's just fun.
And they're caffeine free. So this is what I started with, just to, well, you know, we'll get to the water situation, but I was just bored of drinking water and water and water, plain water, and I didn't want to drink anything sugary. So that's how I started doing that. But I have seen a difference with the hibiscus. So that's just to give you proof that, yes, what she's saying does actually work.
And you know what's also fun? So when we came back from Abu Dhabi, we came in the middle of COVID. So everything was shut down. Parents were home with their kids. And I had people ask me, well, what do I do for the kids? So any herbal tea, so non-caffeine, you can use for making stuff for the kids. And you don't have to have a lecture with your kids about tea, about things that they don't understand. All you need to do is make it as their lemonade.
Yep.
You know, you can use that for instead of giving them Kool-Aid. You know, it's, you know, no chemicals, it's all natural. And from an early age, they start their cells stay hydrated because it's also good for hydration. Exactly. So I've shown people, I've done baby showers where I show mothers how to make popsicles for their kids, add a little bit of watermelon or some applesauce to it. And, you know, if you want to do a sweetener, that's up to you, but you can it's so easy and it's so cheap. It's so cheap.
I know.
So
those of you that have, maybe your daughters are, you know, having babies, or your grandkids are having babies or whatever, you know, tea for me was also a lifesaver for lactation. So, you know, the benefits of tea, I just, like I said, recently I kind of rediscovered tea, but when I was, you know, nursing, that also saved me as well. So that's another tip out there for maybe for either your kids or your grandkids who are now moms, that they can do that as well. So, okay. So let me
one thing that I do want to say, Catherine, is that for people who have blood pressure issues, hibiscus tea lowers your blood pressure. There are plenty of studies who attest to that. However, if you have low blood pressure like myself, you can't drink it too much unless you want to go to sleep. Because I have experienced that so much. Actually, while we were creating these tea blends, I got sick and I drank a lot of hibiscus tea. And one of my research assistants, Ala Soliman, I don't know if she's here online, but she from Egypt, she said, Dr. Ludmilla, you're drinking too much kafka, then you need to stop. And I was like, oh yeah, duh. I'm talking about it and I'm not doing it. So I was just drinking and I'm like, why am I so sleepy? And I was already sick. I was on medication. So I could sleep till 2:00 in the afternoon, literally. Oh, and that was not good. So I just want to say, if you are on any blood pressure medications or if you have any blood pressure issues, please check with your doctor.
Okay, I'm just gonna check the chat here because I do see some messages coming in. So Laura said, I love hibiscus. Oh, she's gonna do that tonight. Yeah, okay. And Manuela said, sorry, I didn't hear the name for the tea that treats low blood pressure. So that is hibiscus.
Hibiscus, yes. Any blend with hibiscus in it, because there's a lot of, I mean, you can drink straight hibiscus, just the hibiscus flower, but some people like tea blends. They don't want to just have the hibiscus flower. And so anything hibiscus.
So let me just put that in here. Hibiscus, just in case. Oop, there we go. Okay, so another common issue, and I'm glad you kind of got into it a little bit, but is sleep, right? So the most common tea I think that people associate with, you know, trying to help with their sleep is chamomile tea, right? Everybody says,
yes.
Oh, go drink some chamomile tea. That's gonna make you so sleepy, you're gonna go right to bed, right?
Yeah.
So is that true, or is there something better?
No, it's true. So there is chamomile tea, but I used to drink a lot of chamomile tea in college, actually, to calm me down from anxieties for exams. And I actually developed a seizure disorder in my last year in college. Out of the blues, I began having seizures when I was on my period. I was never diagnosed with epilepsy, but to date, I am on anti-epileptic medication. And even though I've been under control since the beginning of 2000, if people, well, one doctor in Abu Dhabi tried to change my medication and I had 4 seizures. So I went back to the medication I had, and talking about side effects, you know, there were side effects to it, but I said, you know, I'll fix that with my tea. But the chamomile is what helped to keep my anxieties down. As I began to do research on teas and tisanes and, you know, all the herbs and the flowers and what the benefits were, I discovered butterfly pea flowers. Oh. Butterfly pea flowers are blue, and they are from the same family as blueberries. And there is this compound in butterfly pea that's called polyphenols. And polyphenols are antioxidants, meaning they fight all the cancer-causing agents, but they're very strong. In Thailand, they use it for mental health. They use it for anxiety. They use it for skincare, and they use it for cancer. They treat HIV patients with it. So there's so many benefits to it, but I'm telling you, butterfly pea, if you have a cup in the evening, you will sleep like a rose. So I began, because of the color, I was fascinated because it's blue, and I actually have it right here. So what I do, you know, my husband works at night, so sometimes I just try to entertain myself because he comes home at midnight. So this is my butterfly pea in my martini glass, and I just put a slice of apple on it. So, you know, everybody has their own stuff, and I also teach. So sometimes when I just want to decompress and just want to get the computer out of my mind, which is hard to do sometimes, I just go and sit down and just have a drink. But there's no alcohol. And the beauty of butterfly pea is it's very blue. If you add a few drops of lemon to it, it turns purple. So back to the kids, if you want to have tea time with the children, have some butterfly pea. They'll stay calm and they'll be fascinated with the colors, and you're giving them some antioxidants, which means that they're cleaning their body. Yeah. Without them knowing anything about tea. And if you start early, you don't have to worry about them getting used to Kool-Aid, because they will want that tea, and they'll start incorporating those things. And I'm telling you, if I knew what I know now about tea, my daughter and I would have had so much fun. Yeah. So, and we still do now at a later age, of course, but I'm telling you, I really wish every mom would just have tea time with their kids, because it's a bonding issue. Everybody will stay calm. And, you know, during the height of COVID, I will say, because it's not gone, I literally promoted this for their moms. I said, if you know, when mothers had to go online and learn how to do stuff online and everybody was going crazy. And I would say, you know, threaten your kids. If you do your homework, you'll get a blue popsicle. If you do your homework, we'll do the purple one, or we'll do the red one, you know, and there you go.
That's a good grandma trick. Those of you that are grandmas out there, that's a good one, because mom and dad probably don't give those treats.
Right, right.
Now, Ludmilla, where can you get butterfly tea? Someone's asking. And also another question was, is valerian tea helpful for sleep?
So valerian tea is helpful. I want to say that we stick to a little collection of teas, but there are a lot of teas. So we don't have a lot of teas. And the reason is because there is information overkill on the website. When I was doing research on tea, I started to understand why tea companies have 50 different blends. My goal with our tea company is, in honor of my father, our motto is creating healthier communities. So I don't want you to get confused, and I want you to be consistent. So I'd rather give you a small collection that you can choose from that does everything that you need it to do, rather than having to choose from so many that on a monthly basis, you don't know what to pick and you will not be consistent.
Yes.
You know, it'll be kind of like shoes, right? When I moved to Abu Dhabi, the first thing I did was ship all my shoes. My husband thought I'd lost my mind, but because there's so many of them, you just keep buying them, right? But when it comes to your health, you want to not go so far, because then it won't do anything, because it will just be too much. Exactly. So I stick to a small collection, but to answer your question, valerian root is very good. Yes. I don't have it in our collection, but it's also a very good root. Absolutely.
Where can we get the butterfly tea?
On my website. It's www.drinkourhig.com.
Okay. Are there any, is that something that people would find in
so
market?
So under herbal tea, so we sell just the butterfly pea, or we sell butterfly pea blends. So you can buy straight butterfly pea flowers. You can buy hibiscus flowers, peppermint flowers, lavender buds, rose petals, or you can buy the blends, because everybody has different preferences. Some people like blends, some people like the straight flowers. And of course, what we also encourage you to do is to mix your own tea blends. So, there may be something that you want to do with the tea, and I encourage you to get creative. What we also do is, if you have questions, you can also just email us and we'll answer right away. And I like to stay in touch with my customers, so feel free to email us and just ask questions.
Okay, well, that's interesting, because I'm going to try that one for better sleep, because I sleep, but not that great. But anyway, moving on to the other hot topic that we have, menopause. And I know we have Laura is actually on. She was our guest last week, but menopause is a hot topic. See what I did there? See what I did there?
Yeah.
So are there any teas for those desperately looking for some type of relief from those stubborn, and I say stubborn because some of them are still lingering, right? Menopausal symptoms. So whether or not they are in menopause or were in menopause, but still having symptoms, anything for them?
So the green teas and the hibiscus teas, both for the reason of first detoxing, cleaning your system, and getting rid of any impurities, but also because I have a green tea that's called Refreshing Green. And by the way, I import my teas from women's farms. I import the green and white tea from Rwanda, straight from women's farms. My butterfly pea comes from Thailand. And the hibiscus was from Sudan, but I'm now actually working on trying to get it from Egypt. Because there's, it's a little bit of a challenge, I'll say. But anyway, what we do is we try to encourage women to look at all the different ingredients that are in there. So the Rwanda blends have lemongrass, holy basil, tulsi holy basil, oat straw, peppermint leaf, ginger, and green tea. And we also have white ginger. And those are teas that don't only have anti-inflammatories. They really help you with your overall blood system. And I think that when it comes to menopause, it's that overall sort of cleansing that your body needs to then hydrate, but also bring the temperature down, if you will. And Laura, please chime in, if you will, because there are other roots, of course. There's so many, but we use our refreshing green teas for that. And then also the hibiscus teas. But we also, again, caution for the hibiscus teas, if you have high blood pressure issues, to be careful with the amount that you drink.
We have a question. It says, are teas organic?
It depends. Ours are organic, no pesticides. And some teas are not organic and they are sprayed with pesticides, which makes it harder to get them off. But not all the tea has to say organic for it to be organic. Now, I will say this. Sometimes it doesn't say organic, but you can read the label and recognize that it is organic because it's fairly sourced from places that do not use pesticides. The reason that not everything says organic is because the label, to have the label organic on your product, any product, is very expensive. And for instance, in these microeconomies in Rwanda, they don't have that kind of money. No. So we just know from the source because of where we get it from, we know that the farms do not use pesticides. And the demand on those farms isn't that way that they have such a mass production that they have to use pesticides. But they work with the government to make sure that their teas are organic. And so sometimes it's just a little bit of reading. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that they had to actually say it on there.
Yeah, yeah, but it's an expensive label to have on your product. Yeah, it's very expensive.
Now, this was another topic, and this is a hot topic for me. I don't know about ladies out there, but I thought it was interesting. Anti-aging tea-based products. I was like,
that's my topic.
My mind went like this when I saw that on your website.
Look, when I saw these things and these wrinkles, I was like, no, we're not having that. No, I couldn't deal with that. So I was like, call me vain, but no, we don't want to do that. So I did some research on butterfly tea, and I was floored. In Thailand, they use it for skincare because of the amount of polyphenols that are in it, which help to create a healthy skin. So they use it for masks. And then, ladies, do you know that hibiscus is a natural Botox?
I've heard that. I
didn't believe it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I don't believe it. So I tried it out. So we make a face mask.
Everybody's going to be like,
this is our face mask. And our face mask is hibiscus and butterfly pea and rose petals mixed with kaolin clay. And kaolin clay is a natural clay that they use for face masks. And this is the easiest thing to do. Moms or grandmoms, don't wait until you get so bad that you're like, oh my gosh, there's no turning back. Take care of yourself. Self-care is not selfish. So we sell this, and what I do once a week, because you don't want to dry your skin out, but I have oily skin. So once a week, I literally get up, I rinse my mouth, and before I even brush my teeth, and I'll tell you why, because it's so quick. So I take some of this, a teaspoon in my hand, a little bit of water, rub it on, and then put it on my face. And while this is drying and doing its thing, then I brush my teeth, because that means I'm saving time, right? Because maybe I'm in a rush. Mm-hmm. So when I brush my teeth, get everything on, then I go take a shower, still have the face mask on, get out the shower. Then I rinse my face. So by then, about 15 minutes have gone by, because I take long showers. Then maybe I've gotten dressed and stuff, and there you go, you've had your skincare. So to put some self-time into your schedule is not very difficult, because I've done so many things and yet still found that time, because I was determined that I want my skin to glow. I just wasn't with the wrinkles. I'm sorry. I don't mind the age, but the wrinkles, I can't do that.
Well, it tends to be something that, again, this is in my research of having conversations with a lot of you, but that as you age, it's like you have all this time and yet you don't take the time to take care of your skin until it's too late. And then you're like, but I have all this crepey skin, like it feels like paper. Well, use, sunblock, do you use moisturizers, all of those things. And even just like Ludmilla saying, just to, do like a mask once a week.
Yeah. And I was very bad with that, because I just assumed, this is cute, until my brother came to live with me. And if he's listening, then too bad, I'm putting you out there. Terrorized my house, and all of a sudden my skin began to discolor. So I do have some foundation on right now, but I started having skin discoloration, and it was worse than what it is now. So I freaked out, because I was working in a public office. So my boss was like, are you okay? And I was so stressed out of my skin discoloring. My husband was like, "You need to take a break." So he took me to Cancun, and a little lady from a village spoke to me in Spanish. And even though my Spanish is kind of rusty there, but I understood what she said. She said, "You're stressed out." And I cried like a baby because she looked at me and she just told me, "You're stressed out."
Yeah.
And that was a message for me. And I said, now this lady in another country is telling me that I'm stressed out.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I'm like, Ludmilla, what are you doing? So the brother had to go. You do you, and you're no longer welcome. We're not doing this, and I'm going to start taking care of me. And this was actually before we went to Abu Dhabi. But what was my reminder talking about too late? So it's not too late, but it was late because I wasn't taking care of myself, and I let myself get so stressed out. And now I used to tell my mom, my skin is my message to take care of myself.
Mhm.
So I don't care if my husband says, I'm in the car, I'm ready to go. If I need to take care of my face, then I'll take a taxi, but I'm doing me because this, I need to preserve it. And I don't have time to waste because, now I'll be 60 next month. So I don't have time to sit there and say, well, we'll wait till next week. It's consistency. And so for me to stay consistent, I have to do me first. And that was really a big lesson for me. So I encourage you to do things consistently because that's the only way it's going to work.
Yeah, and exactly. And that's also with the teas and everything that Ludmilla is telling you about. It's like you can't try it for a week and then decide, it's not working. It's not for me. I'm not feeling this. It's the kind of thing that you really have to give it like at least 4 to 6 weeks. And I always say that even just for fitness, any type of results. You're not going to see anything really or feel anything because remember, it's not always visual. It could be internal as well. So just all of these teas and everything that we're suggesting here is for you to try them, see if they work for you. If they don't, after the 4 to 6 weeks, then try something different. But don't give up on it. And I just wanted to show you this cute little thing. I don't know if you can see. So this is one of the little gift pouches. Yes. And when you open it up, I was like, oh my God, so cute. These are the little face masks, like the ones she was telling you. So you get a little bit of those. And these are so cute. I just think they're so adorable because they're like, when you're looking for something to give a friend and you're like, what do I give them? These are like so adorable. And then I wanted to show you this. So Ludmilla came to class the other day and she's like, I just realized you don't have this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I open it up and I'll show you how it came because I kind of opened it up. So it comes up like this. It's like that. And then I opened it up and there was, I don't know if you can see, but there's another pouch here, right? And then these are the teas. So they come in like these little bags. So this one's an autumn hibiscus spice, green tea, and butterfly pea. So I'm going to be trying that one. And then turmeric and orange. So they come in these little bags already mixed. And another thing that I saw on her site, which I thought was so cute and just kind of fits in with my whole, trying to build a community of women and support and all of that, is your tea tastings.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
So I just want to piggyback of what you mentioned before. So again, this tea company is in honor of my father, and my father was a gift to me. And so therefore, the way that we always package our tea. So we want you, when you open the tea, we want you to feel like it's a gift. Because it's not just about the tea. You go and get your tea box and you just take the box and you just put the tea there. But it's mental health, right? When you give something to somebody, it's all, mentally appreciative, the feeling of joy and giving. So we wanted to incorporate that in mindfulness, making sure that people feel warm, feel that somebody cares for them. Because as I said, we came back in the middle of COVID. We literally started our business right before COVID, and people needed somebody. People needed somebody to say, you're special. The tea pouches, we make tea favors for people, but we also want you to take your tea on the road. So In our tea bags, we always include a few, like these little tea bags, if you don't have an infuser, so that you can put your tea in here. So what I do, I have no shame. I will put a little tea in a bag, I'll put it in my little pouch and take it to the restaurant and ask for a cup of hot water. Because a lot of restaurants do not have tea. Yeah.
That's true.
So that's another thing. And then it's a cute little pouch, just like your purse, right? You want a nice purse, so you want a nice pouch. But the tea tastings we do because we want to teach people about tea. So I'm also an educator, and I really have a passion for letting people understand what they put in their body. So the tea tasting, what we do is you get a box like this. We call it our tea tasting kit. Depending on what you want, you can customize your kit, or you can get 4 teas, a green, a white, a hibiscus, and buttercup, however you want it. And then we get some skincare, and we actually teach you about tea and wellness. We talk to you about your digestion, because we believe that everything starts in the gut based on research. Everything starts in your gut. So we feel that tea is a major component of making your gut feel happy. And a lot of people have problems with their gut. I had it before, and nobody could figure out why I had what I had. So I tried testing, taking out different foods, putting in other foods, and drinking tea, and I just couldn't figure it out for a while until I figured it out, right? But the tea tasting really goes into that. So we've done tea tastings. In 2021, I was floored. Apple called me, and I had to do a tea tasting for 28 engineers for professional development. And I was like, how did you find me? So I was really honored with that. So I'm like, okay, whatever, our SEOs must be really good online. They found us. I've done it for sororities, for AKA, for Zeta Phi Beta, and I've done it for the AFL-CIO, anybody, the labor union, I forgot what the acronym is, but I've done it for people's 50th birthday parties, some companies in New York. So, as COVID began, people wanted to do more things online, but companies wanted to do things online for their employees, but also people wanted to continue to get together. Mm-hmm. And what was really appreciative to us, what we appreciated, was that families would organize tea parties to get together. And then we also teach you how to do cocktails. So here is hibiscus. It's just spiced hibiscus. And I just put some lemon peel in it. Orange peel, I'm sorry. You can chew on that orange peel. It's good for your digestion. So you chew on the orange peel and you drink this. So if you forgot your glass and you're rushing at night, do you? Do you? I can't tell you how many times I had to learn this, y'all. I didn't know this before. And I want to say this. This doesn't come from going to school. This comes from doing research. So don't feel like you need to go to school. You just need to read and be encouraged to do research, ask questions. People contact us all the time for questions. We don't just want you to buy. We also want you to ask questions, because we love to educate. Because, let's be real, we have a lot of health issues around in the world, and a lot of health issues that can be preventable. So if we can do anything, creating healthier communities is our motto. That really is true.
Amen, for sure. So before we get to questions from our viewers, if there were 3 things or like 3 tips that you would give someone who's like, wanting to kind of start their journey on understanding herbal teas and, remedies and things like that, what would that be?
So I would say start thinking about what you like. Do you like drinking tea? Do you like drinking caffeinated tea? Do you like drinking herbal tea? Do you like drinking water? Start incorporating a cup of tea a day. And then ask yourself, do I like it in the morning, in the middle of the day, or in the evening? Because not everybody likes to wake up to a cup of tea. But I do want to caution you, when you wake up in the morning, do not drink caffeine on an empty stomach. Caffeine on an empty stomach makes your stomach acidic. You want your stomach to be alkaline. So if you're going to drink caffeinated tea in the morning, eat a piece of bread or some crackers or something before you do that. And then also, if you have a problem incorporating tea, try to make it as an iced tea. You can use green tea and make green tea lemonade. we do a lot of brewing for festivals. So we don't sell the liquid tea, but when we do festivals, like we will be doing a festival in Fort Lauderdale next weekend, actually, at the vegan barbecue party, we're brewing a red tea, a green tea, and a blue tea. So that our motto there is stay hydrated, because it's going to be hot. Everybody's going to be drinking a lot of, eating a lot of fried foods, because just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's not healthy. It's comfort food, right? Vegan comfort foods. And so we're there to keep you hydrated. So some people may say, I don't like drinking tea, but I'll drink lemonade. You know how you have the Arnold Palmer? You can do that with your tea. You know, take your tea and make your own Palmer, whatever you want, and mix it and start getting used to the idea of incorporating tea into your body. Because for some people, it's really about baby steps. And then for others, you know, they can jump right into it and just do it consistently. Consistency is the key. And I saw somebody's asking about psoriasis.
Yes.
So the other thing that I want to say before I get to the psoriasis part, I just want to say I saw that skincare is also important, right? So let's say you want to introduce your husband to tea, but your husband is more of a coffee drinker. He can take a bath in tea, because we also have tea bath salts. And the reason we do that is because skin is the largest organ of your body. So if you soak in green tea, you got your antioxidants. It doesn't have to go through your stomach right away. So you can soak in tea. And what we do is we put our tea salts. If you buy it in bulk, then it just comes loose. But if you buy the small ones, they're in these little bags, because I had one lady buy the bath salts, and she said, I loved it, but I didn't like the cleanup. And I said, well, I get that. I don't like cleaning up either. So I put it in the pouch. So you can use your pouch for that, or these little tea bags, you know, it's up to you. But you can soak in tea. And then I had a foot fungus on my right toe, and it just wouldn't go away. I soaked in green tea and it went away. God is my witness. So if you have your black tea at home and you have green tea, do not throw it away. Soak your feet. Give yourself a foot bath to prevent getting the fungus. But if you have the fungus, then soak and make sure that you get rid of the fungus. And then use some tea tree oil to moisturize your feet. But it worked for me. So I'm telling you, tea is amazing. Tea is amazing.
So what can you recommend for the psoriasis then?
For the psoriasis, soaking in tea baths, green tea or butterfly pea tea. Okay. Just make sure that you understand the butterfly pea. It is going to stay in your bath a little bit, but it's all natural, but still. And chamomile. Chamomile tea is also great for soaking. Yes.
Yeah. So what I didn't get to say before, but my grandmother, when my kids were born, she used to only bathe the children in chamomile tea.
Wow, yeah.
She used to boil the water, and it had to be the chamomile, you know, the actual
chamomile, yes.
Yes. And she would let it cool, you know, and then she'd have a little bit of warm water and a little bit of the cold version. That's all she used to bathe the kids.
And they didn't cry much, right?
No. And I thought she was like, I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, grandma, all right, you know, whatever. Yeah. But let me tell you, it helped with their hair. Their hair stays nice and fresh and clean. And they were also very soothed. So again, another grandma tip. I'm giving grandma tips.
Yeah. And my daughter washes her hair with butterfly pea tea, because in Thailand, they use it for hair as well.
Yeah. Now, somebody is asking, what tea would you recommend to lower blood sugar?
Hibiscus tea.
Hibiscus tea. Hibiscus seems to be the winner, everybody. So I think if you're going to start with something, you got to start with the hibiscus. And
there's a lady here in the community who came to me and she said she had diabetes and kidney stones. And she's very distressed because she said whatever she has to do for the diabetes exacerbates the kidney stones. What she has to do for the kidney stones doesn't have the diabetes. So I asked her to come to the house and I let her watch a few videos from people who are the licensed experts, and so that she could understand what they're saying and what research says. And then she purchased my spiced hibiscus and she purchased the butterfly pea. I forgot which, I think it was the butterfly pea lemon mint. She also changed her diet. So I am plant-based and she started incorporating more plant-based food into her diet. in 2 weeks, she brought her blood glucose level under control. God is my witness. And the way that she did it, she was recording it every day. She took a picture of her records and sent it to me. It just warmed my heart. She has had no kidney stones. Her diabetes is under control because she takes it every day. Every day.
So the message for all of you out there is, again, take this information, use whatever you think you would like to start with. You know, if you're not used to using tea at all, you know, if you thought, oh, tea, you know, was at the end of the day or after eating or something like that. But now you realize that there's so many more benefits to it. So like Ludmilla's saying, is to start small, right? Incorporating these things. And then if you want more than that, obviously you can reach out to Ludmilla, because now you have a source. Maybe before you didn't, maybe before you were like, I'm interested in this thing, but I don't want to have to be reading a lot of stuff. Well, now you have a source that has read all the stuff. And she knows, and she can recommend to you what might help you, right? Because we don't want to have to depend on medications, and we don't want to have to be living unhappy because of these little symptoms, these things that we have. So definitely reach out to her on that. And again, I just, before we go to the messages, I really just want to thank everyone for joining these interviews, because it means a lot to me. It means that I chose the right people, the right guests that would intrigue you to come and participate in these interviews. So let's open up the floor, if you will. And if anybody has a question, you can unmute and ask away.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It does take a village, they say, and it's. I thank you for featuring us, because my father is smiling up in heaven. I can just tell.
So, does anyone have a question out there that we haven't answered, or maybe you want more info? Don't be shy. It's okay. We're all here to learn.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I've been trying to have, because water does get boring, like Catherine said. And so it's okay to have tea, like the hibiscus or green tea throughout the day, every day.
Yes. And the one thing that I didn't mention, green tea has a compound. It's a long name, but it's called ECGC. Green tea helps with memory boosting. So does hibiscus. If you have a sensitivity to caffeine, then then hibiscus definitely does that. But the butterfly pea and the green tea, I call those my mental health teas, because both of them work on the brain. And all of us know that, you know, as we age, you know, we need a little bit more help there. So definitely, we encourage everyone to have a cup of green tea if you feel like you're getting tired a lot, or you know you're not able to concentrate, or you feel like you're becoming forgetful. You know, it's not always about the worst, but you know we all become forgetful. Sometimes you're just too busy. But green tea is great for that. Absolutely, it's absolutely great for that. 1 cup a day. I would not suggest it in the evening. If you're anything like me, you'll be bouncing off the walls if you don't go to sleep. So I don't do caffeine in the evenings, but I definitely think midday, because again, in the morning, if you're going to drink green tea, make sure you have a meal, because it's caffeinated, and caffeine on an empty stomach makes your gut health acidic. You want it to be alkaline.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Monica is asking, I'm recovering from a procedure done on Wednesday. It required me to be on a clear liquid diet. I do drink water, but my ginger tea and hibiscus tea soothes my gut. So are you, Monica, are you asking if tea is okay, or I'm confused, or you're just making a comment? I can't hear you. Hold on. Unmute.
No, I'm just what the doctor was saying, that tea is very helpful.
Okay.
Okay, then it's hard to be on a clear liquid diet and drink the same water and ginger ale and all that stuff they say, but tea is the way to go when you have to stay on that kind of diet.
And then hibiscus is an anti-inflammatory, so it helps with your healing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Okay. Well, for those of you that are, so when we did speak about water, like I had said, that water for me gets very boring and I have to drink a lot of it, a lot. I should be drinking at least a gallon a day, if not more. So I don't know, for those of you that take classes with me in person, if you see me with my water bottle, chances are you've seen the little tea thing is hanging outside of the bottle, because what I do is I put a little bit with ice, and I put the tea bag, and then I fill the rest up with water. And depending on the tea, because I mean, I love tea, but I don't love all of the flavors.
Right.
I taste it and I'm like, okay, this needs a little of this and a little of that. And then I kind of make like a cocktail, like what she's saying. And that's what I drink throughout the day. So as I'm teaching, it's not like I'm gulping it down. I just do sips and sips and sips, so that by the time I come home to have my lunch, then I can have a clean glass of water. I actually look forward to it because obviously I've been having tea, right? So it does help me, but like Ludmilla said, you don't want to have like tea all day. It's just, kind of just an alternative for you throughout the day to get your water in. Any other questions? Comments? I don't know.
And do your tea cocktails.
All right. Oh, somebody said, yes, they're going to add the butterfly PT. All right. Well, thank you so much for being my guest. Thank you here at the Dance Fit Hub.
Thank you for
And
having me.
again, if anyone would like to follow Ludmilla, or maybe learn a little bit more about the different products that she does have, the website again is drinkourhig.com.
Yes.
And that's on Facebook. It's on Instagram as well. And is it a different name on Instagram? I think it is.
The handle is Drink Our Teas, but if you put in Drink Our HiG, you'll find it.
Okay. All right. And again, thank you. And thank you all
Thank you all.
for hanging out
so
this
much.
evening. Hopefully you get to get your butterfly PT so you can go right to bed and be all energetic for my classes in the morning.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ludmilla.
Thank you
Good
all.
evening, everybody.
Good evening. Bye. Thank you.